Time to break down Pete Prisco's Week 3 NFL Power Rankings. I'm Chris Hassel. We'll be joined by Pete and Lige Douzable in just a second. Have some questions for Pete regarding his Power Rankings this week. The top...
Pete Prisco's Power Rankings. Damn. Let's see, we got Jets at 29. I feel like last game I watched, they struggled a little bit. I don't know, I feel like New York, hold on. That's where New York is. What Cowboys at? What Cowboys at? Wait, bro, how the Cowboys at 20 and NY at 26?
Seven remain the same. Where I'm going to start is number 3, Pete, the Packers. You picked them to go to the Super Bowl. They've been the most impressive team all season. Why not?
Oh, they was good. They good.
Where are you moving them to?
They good.
Yeah, two.
I mean, number one hasn't lost, and they were in the number
You're
one
picking
spot.
the Packers to go to the Super Bowl.
But the Packers have been the most dominant team so far this year.
They're on their way to. I want to see.
I feel like they're on their way to the Super Bowl.
We'll see how they play. Look, they're not playing a good team this week, but we'll see how they play.
They playing good.
It's just like when all these teams, like the Colts.
I mean, like, I felt like it's still early in the season, man. It's still early in the season. I can't be like, oh my God, they're going to the Super Bowl from, but they've been playing good. They have a nice game, and I give that number 3 to Green Bay Packers for sure.
Football, they haven't been out on the road yet. I want to see
Super Bowl bound. We got the Eagles and the Bills. Hey, I seen a couple games with the Bills. Like I don't know. Watching the Packers and then watching the Bills, I feel like the Packers game is like nice. The Bills, okay, but I feel like they got some work to do type shit. The Eagles, they haven't lost yet, but I haven't seen how they played though. I gotta watch their games. I gotta watch their highlights, see how they playing. Just because they haven't lost won't mean that like they win a Super Bowl type shit. Feel me? We got chasing championship. We got Packers, we got Buccaneers, Ravens, Commanders, Chargers, 7, 49ers, Rams. But I feel like the Chargers can move up a little bit. I would put the Chargers like. Well, I would put them like in between the Buccaneers and the Ravens. Because I feel like they have like. The game is good. Playoffs loaded. We got the Colts, the Chiefs, the Lions.
go out on the roads, face some adversity, face getting out, face traveling, the whole thing.
We do have 2 new top 10 teams, the Rams in the chasing championship tier and the Colts in the playoffs loading tier. Let's jump to the team that is leading the AFC West by 2 full games over the Chiefs. As we welcome you in here, Lige Douzable, Pete Prisco, it's the Chargers. And Justin Herbert always gets the headlines, but you wrote in your article, it's time to start talking about that defense. Here you go.
Well, Jesse Minter, we were just talking about that. He's done a great job with that defense. I still worry, particularly now with Khalil Mack being hurt, where they're going to get the pressure consistently from the edge, and that's going to be a problem. But he does such a great job on the back end of scheming things open. You look at that defense, and they're much better. The sum is better than the parts. Yeah. Let's be real. I mean, the corners, they're young kids, but they're getting better. I mean, you know, Hart and Tarheeb still both getting better as players. Derwin James gives you the flexibility to do so many things. They didn't even have Molden last night. They put Tony Jefferson and got him up off the scratch.
You know, that's so good. That's how you said that, because I watching him and back, like, they fast. They fast. They have the ability to cover the field a lot for me. yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like it's the amount. Like, it could be like, is it like a lot of energy? I feel like it's like they have OD energy. They have OD energy. They had the ability to cover the field, but I don't know. Like, even though they're a little bit like messy with it, but like together, like they're very good. They're very good, and I feel like they could. They have a chance of making it. They have a chance of making it. I would say that they're making it to championship for sure. Playoffs, they have a good chance at the playoff. But I feel like towards the end, if they're really gonna try to make it to the playoff, I feel like they would have to work on some things though. Work on especially like when they get the ball. I think they would have to work on running the ball a little bit more.
Pepe's my age, and he played well.
He might be Defensive Player of the Week this week in the AFC.
and Tony Jefferson is such a good, smart player that you like to have that guy there. So I think Jesse Minter's done a really good job with this defense.
Yeah, for sure. Justin Herbert, rightfully so, gets the headlines. And people were wondering after what he did versus Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in Week 1 and how he struggled to beat him going 1-7 before that game last week. How would he reply Week 2? And it started off a little shaky, Pete, right? I think he was 1 of 5. But you know what he did after that, Has? 14 straight completions. And I said this yesterday on the morning show on the Morning Buzz, that people aren't. It started 7 before that game last week. How would he reply Week 2? And it started off a little shaky, Pete, right? I think he was 1 of 5. But you know what he did after that, Has? 14 straight completions. And I said this yesterday on the morning show on the Morning Buzz, that people aren't talking about this receiving core enough. If Quentin Johnson continues to play like this is a top 3 receiving crew that Justin Herbert has to his disposal to be able to pass the football around, right? I love that he had poise in the pocket. He continues to use his mobility, which he hadn't done in the past. When things break down and guys aren't open and guys decide to give him man coverage, he takes off with the football. And you see right there how he started 1 of 5 and how he finished it. But I'm with Pete. What makes them real contenders is Jesse Minter in this defense. And what isn't talked about enough is how they put an umbrella in front of the defense and make you dink and dunk all the way down. You have to be consistent to move the ball against them because of the defensive linemen. Deshaun Hand, Jamari Caldwell, they do a really good job of squeezing blocks to allow guys like Deion Henley to come down and make plays in the backfield. So because they're able to do that, they can leave less guys in the box, Pete, and then they can put an umbrella on that defense, which doesn't allow you to get over the top of them. They force you to matriculate the ball down the field. That's why I think they're real contenders, because of this defense.
And a real chance this week to open up some space in that division. They already have a 2-game lead on the Chiefs. They already beat the Raiders, and now they've got the Broncos this week. Could open up a 2-game lead on them as well. Let's jump down to the newest member of the top 10, the Indianapolis Colts, the biggest risers this week, up 8 spots. Daniel Jones, Pete, you always say you are what you are. Are you thinking he's going to turn into a pumpkin at some point this season?
First off, the punter needs to give his money back. He hadn't punted yet this year.
Right, 0 punts in 2 games.
He should give his checks back for the last 2 games. But the reality is Daniel Jones is playing great football, but is it sustainable? And I always say this, we just
Giants
talked about this before the show. Let's see what you do when you go out on the road.
Jets at 29.
I want to see what you do when you go out on the road. And Daniel Jones has done a nice job. This team is talented. You look, they can run it. Jonathan Taylor can run it. They have weapons. Warren adds to the passing game a great deal. The offensive line, by the way, they let 2 guys go in free agency. Those 2 guys, 2 guys, and Bortolini's playing great at center, and Conclaves is playing great at right guard. They're a good offensive line. Defensively, I don't know if they rush the passer well enough still, but I'll tell you what, give Daniel Jones credit, and I'm not going to take anything away from him. Most of the time, you are what you are, and eventually it'll probably even out. But right now, he's playing really good football.
It's not Danny Dimes anymore, guys. It's Indiana Jones, right? And I love what I've seen from Daniel Jones. You see Jonathan Taylor on the screen right there, had another 200-plus all-scrimmage yard game. This is the best cast of characters he's played with. going back to his time in New York. And I think that's what Shane Steichen was looking at when he looked at this team, when he was making a decision at the quarterback position. They kind of felt like they knew what Anthony Richardson was at this point in his career. But if they got that 2022 Daniel Jones with the talent that you're talking about, Pete, they felt like the last 2 years, they've been a game or two away from the playoffs with inept quarterback play. If I can get Daniel Jones or Indiana Jones from 2022, which they've gotten, then we have a real legit shot to make a run because of the playmakers we have with Jonathan Taylor, Pittman on the outside, Alex Pierce. You talked about Tyler Warren. The offensive line's blocking really well in the run game. And that defense, we knew it was going to be some struggles to begin with. They played good in spurts in that game as well. I love what I really saw from Kenny Moore out at the slot corner position. So this is a team that I think can be dangerous in the AFC South because I know me and you both picked the Texans to win that division. They've struggled on the offensive side. If Daniel Jones continues to play like this, they're a dark horse to win the AFC South.
Quarterback scales, Daniel Jones, C.J. Stroud so far this season.
Well,
Pete.
Daniel Jones has outplayed him. He clearly outplayed him.
Much more on the Texans a little bit later.
Would the Vikings like to have kept Daniel Jones, man?
Yes, they would have.
Yeah, that's a good point. Vikings will be turning to Carson Wentz this week with J.J. McCarthy's injury. Let's go to the team just outside the top 10, and it's the first time in years we've said this about the Kansas City Chiefs, Pete. You said they're not dead yet, but they are in the ER. How do they get back?
Well, Mahomes and Reed will get them back to kind of weather the storm. I think they'll be able to weather the storm. Look, they had a great defensive game the other day. They limited the Eagles to 250 yards or whatever it was, and they did a heck of a job on that side of the ball. They need to get the speed guys back. And, we don't know when Worthy's coming back. They say maybe this week. I have to see it to believe it. We know Rice is coming back in a month.
Yeah.
When those guys get back, the offense will be fine. But can they weather the storm until then? And that's the toughest thing to do. How much further away are the Chargers going to be from them by the time those guys get back? And are you going to have to go a wild card route maybe this year? So I do think they'll fix it. They're not dead yet because they have Mahomes and Reed.
I think they're in trouble, though, Pete. And me and you have talked about this before. When you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, the way they've kind of been able to reinvent themselves over the year, there was always something that you could hold to as being their identity. What's their identity this year? Like, we don't know it throughout two games.
When they get the weapons back, their identity might be different.
We'll see that, but because we haven't seen it and Rashee Rice missed the majority of the season, they still went to the Super Bowl. Like, they didn't have him last year, but they were still efficient enough when it comes to running the football and also out-executing everybody. They're not out-executing anybody this year, so I think they're in real trouble because you still have another month, right? How far are they going to be back from the Chargers? If the Broncos continue to play well, how far are they going to be back from them? Yes, the defense played significantly better last week versus the Eagles, but they didn't play well the week one versus the Chargers. So my concern is the lack of run game. Your quarterback cannot be leading you in rushing throughout 2 weeks. And the best plays they've had on offense were off scrambles with him. So, what's their identity? There was always something we could point to with the Chiefs, whether it was Patrick Mahomes' first couple of years, they can, throw the ball down the field. Whether it's Tyreek Hill gets traded, but then Travis Kelce comes alive, and we're still the number one offense. Whether it's we have the number one defense in football, or like last year, we out-execute everybody. This year, they don't have an identity, and I think that is the issue with the Chiefs.
Couple things.
They're a little bit all over the place.
Quentin Johnson and McConkey away from the Chargers offense, what would their identity be?
Running the football.
Do they run it? They haven't run it yet.
They haven't had to because of Mahomes.
They haven't run it yet. You think that's what they want to do. They haven't run it very well yet. And the Chiefs haven't run it at all, so I give you that. The other part of this equation is when you look at the coach and the quarterback, they usually find ways to work it out. And I think that they'll work it out. I just think when you look at it, that defense played a great game the other day.
They did.
They should have won the game. And if Kelce catches the damn ball, they win that game, I think. Or at least they come down to a touchdown late to score to beat you. And I think they would have won the game. But turn the ball over.
Yeah, my thing is when you look at this division, though, in years past it wasn't as strong. And I think that's the issue when you look at this Chiefs team. Like, the other three teams in this division are significantly better than they've been in the past. So when they have struggled, they've been able to work it out because the division wasn't as strong.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, the game that I seen Chiefs play, trying to figure out who they are, too. The game's all over the place for me, but defenses ain't doing too bad. The defense It's good.
But this year with the Broncos and Chargers, and we saw the Raiders, kind of have a regression step back, but we saw them play well week one. Like, the division is significantly better. You can't keep saying that Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes will figure it out if you continue to lose, because time is of the essence at this point.
Is the division that much better? I mean, the Raiders kind of came down to earth,
The Broncos should have won that game.
But their defense was awful in that game.
But it doesn't matter. They had a chance to win it. That's the leverage.
The calling card is their defense, and they've been they haven't been good.
They were good week one.
Well, they Cam Ward his first game. I just don't think that defense. That's a little bit of a red flag.
Well, also Drake Greenlaw isn't playing yet.
If Worthy and Rice were there, you wouldn't be worrying as much about the.
But they're not.
Right.
So you have to worry because they're not there.
But will they beat the Giants this week?
If Russ plays like he did last week, it's going to be.
It is on the road.
I don't know, man. Giants is getting good.
Moonballs to throw?
Probably not against the Chiefs.
No.
Chiefs aren't the Cowboys.
Week one they did.
By the way, the
Chargers
Giants,
wide
the
open.
last team to start 0-2 and win the Super Bowl back with Eli Manning in that infamous 07 season where they knocked off the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
The defensive
unbeaten
coordinator was on that
Patriots.
team?
Bags.
Now with the Chiefs for many a year. Much more to come here with the Detroit Lions at 12, because this is one of my questions. And it was a question up in the newsroom. How do you drop the Lions from 11 to 12 after what they did to Ben Johnson and the Bears?
They played Arkansas State, so.
Oh, my God. Arkansas State almost beat Iowa State.
True. And that's not a shot at Arkansas. But you know what I'm talking about. It wasn't it's an impressive game against a team that I don't think is very good
They put
at
up
home.
50-plus
Okay,
points.
but here's the other part of it. I moved the Colts up. That's why they dropped down. The Colts would.
Do you really think the Colts are better than the Lions?
Well, they've earned the right to be ahead of them.
But are they
I think
better?
the Chiefs should have been lower on your list.
But the Chiefs are still
I
a
mean,
good football
I'm
team.
saying you're going off of pads, but the rankings are supposed to be
They
based off
took
this
the
year.
one team to the buzzer, and if Kelsey catches the ball, they win the game.
Well, they didn't do that week one.
Well, no, they did not look. But that's a Brazil game, and by the way, that was a one-score game too.
Yeah, but the Chargers kind of dominated that game, though. You have to admit, Justin Herbert dominated.
They didn't
that
play
game.
great in that game, but again, you took the one team to the.
Don't you feel a lot better about the Lions now than you did after that week one showing in Green
I'm
Bay?
worried about the Lions' defense, to be honest with you.
31-point blowout. Third 50-point game in the last 2 seasons.
In a lot of ways. Look, offensively, we know we're going to score. They go to the
What?
Ravens on Monday night.
Hold on, bro. If I'm not mistaken, everybody was talking about the Bears. What happened to the Bears?
Right, and I think the Ravens are going to put up 37 on them. I'm worried about that defense in a big way. I just don't think it's very good right now. Offensively, they got it going again, which is great, but against the Bears. I mean, the Bears aren't very good. J.J. McCarthy beat the Bears, did he not?
He did
It's
in the fourth
true.
quarter. Yeah, he lit him
How
up.
did he look the other night?
I mean, I think they should have went up just because there were so many question marks with Jared Goff in this offense. And now we truly know that the Green Bay Packers are in a different caliber right now because of what they've done in back-to-back weeks, right? They did it with the Detroit Lions, and then they did it with the reigning Rookie of the Year in Jaden Daniels and the Commanders and made him look pedestrian as well. So when you look at it, I felt like Detroit is going to still be there. Now, to your point, there is some concerns. They've changed 2 coordinators, right? Defensive coordinator Calvin Shepard comes in. You have some issues with their corners. Terrion Arnold does give up some plays, and he does hold a lot as well. So there's some concern there. And then outside of Aiden Hutchinson, who's the guy that consistently can get pass rush? Because Marcus Davenport has not been able to do it. Obviously, they got some injuries in the interior of their defensive line. But to your point, with that offense, they're going to always have a chance. I feel like they're always going to have a chance. Now, Baltimore Ravens, that's a well-balanced breakfast. It's going to be tough for them this week, as physical as they are in the run game. But even they struggled in the first half versus the Cleveland Browns until they got it going in the second half. But I don't think you should have dropped them just because they put up a 50 burger.
I really didn't drop them. I moved somebody else.
But they still dropped.
Yeah. I didn't drop them because of the performance. I moved somebody
I
else.
would have moved the Chiefs
love
down to
just
like 12.
Get inside your head as you're filling this whole thing out each week.
It's not as easy as
I
you
was
think.
half sleeping last night at 1 o'clock.
Clearly, after the Monday Night Football doubleheader. Can't wait for that's a Monday night game this week, right? The Lions and the Ravens. Yes. Huge. Hey, Pete, I understand the show is doing well. Your game day recap at 8:30 p.m. Eastern
It's
time
fun.
on Sunday.
Where's Rand, though?
Me and Rand talked about that yesterday.
Yeah,
we
what-
were on. We're like,
what
get my
is
man on
going
the
on?
Pro Bowl.
He needs a,
Get my man on the promo.
I think it's in his contract and Lee J's as well that neither one of them are ever allowed on a promo.
Well, I mean, that might be the first one I've ever been on.
I don't know, Jim. Bronco.
Steelers dropped down to 21. Patriots at 22. Cowboys at 20. I gotta watch the rest of these highlights.
Let's fall into that tier this week
What?
for Pete Prisco. The Broncos defense with some question marks. Bengals are there as well, despite a 2-0 start. We know why. Joe Burrow. Falcons actually moving up into that tier with an impressive victory on the road at Minnesota, who's also there. In the Jeff Fisher mid-tier, we find the Cowboys and the Steelers. All right, let's jump back into it. Chris Hassel, Lige Douzable, and Pete Prisco. These are Pete's power rankings, and it's the Bengals at 15. You dropped them 3 spots. I got to imagine that's because you're projecting forward without Joe Burrow for 3 months.
Yeah, and I give them the benefit of that. You're 2-0. You won the game. Jake Browning found a way to win the game. And so they go on the road now against Minnesota. You're 2-0. I want to see what it is. But the reality is, and I'm a big believer in this, once your star quarterback goes down, you're done.
It's over.
You're done.
He went 4-3
Nick
a couple of
Foles.
years ago.
Huh?
Nick Foles.
I mean, he could come back in 3 months. Bro, how you gonna say he done when you say he coming back? Oh, 3. Oh, so we don't exactly know.
It is. But the reality is, and I'm a big believer in this, once your star quarterback goes down, you're
It's
done.
over.
You're done.
He went 4-3 a
Nick
couple of
Foles.
years ago.
Huh?
Nick Foles.
The greatest accident in the history of the National Football League. And people will say, well, Tom Brady. Well, Tom Brady was, you didn't know what he was then.
Correct.
You know what this backup quarterback is. And I look, 2 or 3 games, I get it.
Yeah.
He could do it. 3 months.
He went 4-3 2
I was about
years
to say
ago.
he went 4-3.
But 3 months, you can forget about that.
Well, it'll be interesting, right? Because we were just talking about this off camera. They play the Vikings this week, which is going to be a battle of the backups, right? Carson Wentz and then Jake Browning. If they steal that game, Pete, and Jake Browning plays like he did 2 years ago and goes, 50%, goes 7-7, that makes them 10-7. They're probably getting into the playoffs. And then you start to question, like, if Burrow, because again, 3 months is optimistic for this injury. People are saying he could come back in 3 months. I'm like, that's optimistic.
And
you
that
have to
would
worry
put
about
you at week 16 at the Dolphins. But again,
Correct.
as you said, that's the fastest time.
Exactly. So you have to worry about his conditioning, him being able to throw the football, that timing with the receivers, and is he actually healthy coming back from the injury as well. So, but if Jake Browning can do what he did 2 years ago and split the games,
Damn. We're on a good win streak too. The last highlight I seen of the Vikings playing really good. Playing really good, man. Catches was nice.
looking at the schedule, there's a real chance, right? When you look at the Jets, Bears,
wait.
Patriots.
Wait a second. Let's run it. Okay, at the Vikings, that's a tough game even with Carson Wentz.
I think they get it done.
Broncos.
Probably a lot.
For some reason, I feel like that. Damn. I don't know. I feel like that would be a really close game, but I don't know if the Bengals would win that.
Steelers.
They get Lions at home though, and Steelers at home.
Do you think that team's with Jake Browning is beating the Lions and the
I think there's a real chance they could because, like you talked about the defense. Let's not forget the weapons are still there. Jake Browning threw for a ton of yards. Now he turned it over, but he threw for a ton of yards.
In week 8 they have a bye.
Who's that?
They play the Jets.
The disrespect is real. But no, looking at this, they have a legit shot for him to go 7-7 down the backstretch if they were to go on and beat the Vikings.
Do you
this
think
week.
Jake Brown is going 7-7?
I think he
with
will.
That team, the way it's constructed right now, remember?
Yes,
You do.
He did it with less weaponry a couple years ago.
But they were better on defense back then.
I thought the defenses played significantly better than they did last year. Have they not?
You can't.
They were so bad last year.
Jacksonville did whatever they wanted to.
Nah, well, and Trey Hendrickson called games a few times. Like that red zone interception was on him.
I don't think Jake Brown.
I think he goes. I think he can have them go 7-7 down the stretch.
Okay, we'll remember this.
All right, remember this talk.
Okay. I mean, he's right. If he plays like he did a couple of years ago, they're probably at least in the mix for a
If he
wild
plays like
card
he did
spot.
Sunday, they're not. He threw 3 picks.
Did throw 3 picks,
And
but he
still
did bring them
and he
back to
still
win.
beat your
in the end.
They had a pass
Jaguars.
interference penalty for 40 yards. Too.
Let's go to the Cowboys at 20. Another team that dropped even with a win, down 4 spots into the mid-tier, Pete. The Jeff Fisher mid-tier. That defense is worse than mid.
Well, they're awful on defense. I mean, they are awful on defense. And it's not just the pass rush, because people wanted to say Micah Parsons would fix it. No, he wouldn't. He's not fixing that. The secondary was just awful. You know, everybody raves about Russ and what he did. Those guys were Donovan Wilson was awful. He was like a statue back there. Guys were wide open, and I think that's, to me, that's one of the biggest concerns for the Cowboys. They made Russell Wilson look actually good, and it's hard to do that.
For a long time, teams wouldn't target Trayvon Diggs. That's not happening anymore. They're attacking him. And Kaiir Elam, for all the excitement he built up throughout the offseason and training camp, it all went away the first 2 weeks of the season. And he kind of reminds you of why.
Listen, survive. It was a really close game, man. In overtime, too. Damn. Bro, I felt like Giants could have, shit. Oh my God. You understand? Like, when I seen the game, bro, and I was like, oh, it was a really close game, bro. And Giants was up. So I was like, word. And then I saw that they lost. And I was like, damn. Damn. Off an intercepted ball, bro. That hurts. That hurts. Oh, shit. That hurts, bro. Anyway, that was a good game, man. That was a good game.
Traded him away because he's looked like a deer in the headlights out there at corner. Pete, we talked about this in the offseason. Like, that was a big concern for this team, the secondary, more specifically the cornerback position. But the safeties didn't play well at all. They couldn't get an effective pass rush. Now, they went and signed Jadeveon Clowney. We'll see if that actually helps because he's been more of a guy that's a disruptor, really good against the run. He hasn't been a high-value sack guy since he came into the league. So we'll see what that actually adds to this defense. But Dak Prescott knows, just like Joe Burrow knew last year, I'm going to have to put up 40 a game for us to have a chance. Now, he did it this last week, and he got some help at the end because I don't know what the Giants were doing, allowing Ferguson to just go through the middle of their zone defense, unabated, untouched, knowing that Brandon Aubrey is probably one of the better weapons in football. If you get around midfield, he's going to make the kick. But I love what I saw from the Cowboys offense. There's some big concerns about their defense.
Absolutely. No question about it. But, no Bland. That's big for them.
Yeah.
But
I mean, those other two guys didn't play well at all.
It wasn't just getting beat. They had busts back there. Yeah. Guys are wide open.
It's so bad that they're actually underdogs against the Chicago Bears this week.
Tonight.
Or the Dallas Cowboys. 1.5. It's close to a pick 'em.
It's a desperation Bears.
Hey, Pete, what do you think of this? It's for you, in honor of your first year at CBS 50 years ago. The NFL today is throwing it back to 50 years ago this week with old school everything.
Do you remember the NFL today? You guys weren't alive then.
I wasn't even alive.
It was such a big deal. You had to get in front of the TV.
Are you saying it's not a big deal anymore?
No, but I mean, there were only 3 channels then. So it was like, that's what you had. What else could you watch, It was great. And I remember, you had Brent. And
yeah, Brent's going to be back.
Irv Cross was
Dolphins
there.
And Bills.
Phillips George. And, of course, you had the Greek. And it was, you had to sit and watch every minute of it.
I can't wait to see
the
what
graphics
they do
were fantastic. I hope they bring the old graphics
Yeah,
back.
they're bringing back some of the old graphics and old music. It's pretty cool.
The matchup graphics where they sit behind him and it flips.
All right, let's see who's bringing up the rear. Pete Prisco's power rankings. You got a bunch of teams that are down bad, including the Texans. Raiders are back there after a good start to the season, a rough Monday night
Who's
against
in that
the
29
Chargers.
spot?
Oh, here he goes throwing shade.
Damn. Listen, man, I don't know, bro. I still nah, bro. Giants, really, 26. Could be up a little bit. Up a little bit. It could have moved them up a little bit, man. I don't think it deserves to be a 26. Damn. The Dolphins was playing pretty good. They had some cool highlights. They highlight real. Nah. But the Bears, I don't know. I feel like the Giants, the Dolphins could take the spot of the Bears and the Texans. The Saints, the game was pretty good. haven't seen the Panthers yet. Gotta rewind a little bit.
But they're not a dumpster fire. That's where you find the Panthers and Saints once again. All right, let's get back into it with the Texans at number 23 and what is going on with C.J. Stroud in that offense.
Well, it's the offensive line. I mean, you look at the offensive line. That was the problem a year ago. So you get rid of the best player on the line, the left tackle, and you draft a left tackle. He's playing. Ursay's playing okay.
Correct.
The rest of that line is bad. Howard's okay at right tackle, but the rest of that line is bad, and he's getting pressured all the time. And when he gets pressured all the time, his eye level comes down. He starts getting out of pockets early. He starts running around. He doesn't look like the same player he would 2 years ago. 2 years in a row, the line has been bad. I said it before the season. They made change on the offensive line, and they got worse. It's hard to do, but they've gotten worse. The interior, look, Ed Ingram was the worst lineman on the Vikings team last year. He's now the starting right guard. Tomlinson isn't very good. The center position, whoever starts there, not very good. It's not a good offensive line, and that's kind of trickling down to C.J. Stroud.
I
They
wonder,
don't run it either.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wonder when teams will realize just because you have a star quarterback does not mean he doesn't need protection. We saw what happened to Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl twice. Once versus the Philadelphia Eagles and once versus Tampa Bay.
Look at Joe Burrow, keeps getting hurt.
Joe Burrow keeps getting hurt. Andrew, how many times do you have to go through this script and continue to make the same mistakes, right? It has to be a collective team. You can have a superstar quarterback, and yes, he can fix a few deficiencies, but he can't if he's on his back every 2 seconds. And to Pete's point, the interior three have been bad for the Houston Texans. They were bad last year. And you brought in guys that were like spot starters instead of actually bringing somebody in to solidify the interior. That's the most important thing for a quarterback, right? The quickest line to a quarterback is in the interior. Tom Brady will tell you that if you can bring pressure up the middle, that's what quarterbacks hate because they have to reset their feet and they can't play within rhythm. So when you look at C.J. Stroud, his clock's starting to speed up. He's starting to see phantom pressure. And to Pete's point, he's starting to drift back in the pocket even when there isn't pressure there. And I go back to that game. Early in the fourth quarter, they had a chance for like not a knockout blow, but a significant blow to the Bucs. First and goal from the 8. Nico Collins, execution, right? Man coverage. When you're in man coverage and that guy's on your back hip and there's nobody in front of you, you're supposed to flatten that route. He went up the field. Now, CJ throws an accurate ball, but he gets tackled by Jamel Dean at the 1. The next play, Vita Vea ruins the play because of the interior of the offensive line on the run play. But then C.J. Stroud just made 2 awful throws on 3rd and 4th down. Nico Collins wins on a double move. He puts it too far out in front. Like, he literally had to have been like Mutombo to catch that pass. And then the next play, Pete, on 4th down, nice job by Nick Caley. He motions it over, stack alignment. You have an out route, and you have cover 2 by Jamel Dean. He sits on the out route. Nico Collins is wide open in the corner. He sails it out the back of the end zone. Like, you cannot make throws like that. And I think it's because, to Pete's point, he's been under pressure. Now he's not playing with confidence.
Well, the other part of it is they're missing Mixon.
Yeah, the run game
They're missing
struggle.
Christian Kirk. Tank Dell's not around. I mean, they have 2 rookie receivers that they hope can get going.
Yeah.
But right now, he doesn't have a ton of weapons either. If you take away Nico Collins, Schultz is okay in the middle of the field, but they don't have a lot of weapons. So
I just think
they don't
it's
run the
slowed up a
ball.
little bit.
Aside from that long run for the
struggled to
touchdown, they
run
didn't
it.
do anything.
Yeah, they only have 2 touchdowns so far this season in 2 games, and one of them was set up because of that punt return that set them up near the red zone late in that game. Let's go to the Dolphins, who somehow move up a spot to 27. We had people up in the newsroom, including producer Jack, saying that this team should be in the dumpster fire tier. Why not?
Well, I mean, they went head-to-head.
The
with
offense
the
looked
Patriots.
good.
They scored points at least.
They lost at home to the
which of
Patriots
those
as a
teams-
favorite.
Which of those teams behind them has played better than them?
Well, the argument upstairs was Browns, Jets, and Titans,
Browns?
and Panthers, and Saints have all played better than the Dolphins.
The Saints?
That's
I mean, they
I said the Saints have gone to 2 close games. Now, again, they played a
Mac
backup.
Jones. They played Mac Jones.
And then week 1, they were able to come back. The Cardinals allowed them to come
right.
back. Yeah.
I mean, and the Panthers haven't played very well. The Titans have played good. We know the Jets haven't played good. I mean, could you make a case maybe one of
You
those
could
teams
flip all
could be at
those
them?
teams.
Yeah, you could. They're all. Let's put it this way: they're all garbage. How about that?
Good Lord.
And
Just put them all in the garbage tier.
And Miami's a surprise. Look, I thought they would be not good, but I didn't think they'd be where they're at right now.
If they get blown out this week,
They might have a
against the
change.
Bills.
They might have a change this week.
Really?
I think.
I don't think. Just knowing Mr. Ross, he usually doesn't do things like that. I think if they're going to be a change, Mr. Ross, man, if they're going to do that, it's going to be.
We
a
love calling
wholesale
owners
change.
Mister.
Stephen Ross.
Mr. Ross. Like, if they're going to make that change, it's probably going to be at the end of the season because it's like when you look at their roster, like who is going to be the interim coach, right? Maybe Darren Bevel. Weaver doesn't have that experience as D.
Does it really matter?
But I think it's just too early to pull that. It's week 3 in the NFL
They had a
season.
players-only meeting last week.
They did, and to your point,
And the word is they were griping about the coach a little bit. So
I've heard that too. But
So-
the offense
you
actually
gotta
put up.
know.
The offense has put up points. The issue was, we knew this was going to be an issue. The defense, especially the secondary, like they literally changed the entire secondary. They bring in Minka Fitzpatrick, who hasn't looked like himself. But the
he didn't look
cornerback
like himself last year.
But
either.
he struggled last year. But the cornerback position has really struggled for them. And then when it comes to pass rush, right, Jalen Phillips actually looked pretty good. But then who else is going to bring that pressure on the defensive line? I think that's the issue.
No, okay, Chris Greer needs to go too. Let's be real.
That's why I think it's going to be a wholesale thing at the end of the
Mr.
year.
Greer to you.
No, Chris Greer out the door. Mike McDaniel out the door. If they get blown out this week, I think they have no choice.
DJ, we did see 2 firings after week 3 in college football this past
We
week.
did,
And
which
by the
was a
way,
surprise.
With the Tech.
When it happens on national TV, the owner is more apt to make a decision to get rid of him than if it happened on a Sunday.
Thursday night football,
Yep.
that's the game. Biggest
interesting.
spread of the week. The Bills almost favored by a full 2 touchdowns against the Dolphins.
What?
DJ Usable and Pete Prisco here with Pete's Power Rankings. You can find them all at CBSSports.com. That Bengals-Vikings game, we're not throwing the quarterbacks up there, but we do have maybe the 2 best wide receivers in football that'll be on each side.
They
Jamar
are the
Chase
2
and
best wide receivers.
Justin
I
Jefferson.
don't think it's debatable.
There's no debate.
Who's 1A and who's 1B?
I take Jefferson slightly over Chase.
I would too.
Yeah, that was my pick too. Barely. It's close. He's got an inch on Chase, by the way, an inch, so a little bit more size. That headlines are early window, late window, Broncos and Chargers, 4:05 Eastern.